So welcome to the latest in Travel Weekly's Roadmap to Recovery webcast. I'm Ian Taylor of Travel Weekly, and I'm joined today by Luis Araujo, President of Turismo de Portugal, who's kindly joined us to talk about the UK government's decision not to include Portugal from its list of COVID-safe travel destinations for the time being, and the impact of that on Portugal. Luis, it was clearly a bitterly disappointing decision. What was the reaction in Portugal?
Well, good morning, Ian. Great being with you. Well, at first it was a surprise, a shock, because we didn't expect it. Portugal has done very well in terms of controlling the curve, in terms of the access to the health system in Portugal. Just to give you an idea, almost 60% of the capacity of the hospitals were occupied. So we had roughly 60 people in intensive care for a capacity of 700 beds. People were complying. The government issued very precise and very clear rules to everyone. Everyone was complying. We were opening. And we opened all the restaurants and hotels and everything. So everything was going very smoothly. We were controlling the curve, we were controlling the pandemic. So it was quite a surprise. Of course, after the shock and the surprise came trying to understand why this decision. And that was even worse because we couldn't understand. We couldn't understand which facts, which data was used to take this decision. We always said that you have to see the overall picture in a country. You can't just stick to a precise information. Portugal was one of the countries who was testing more inside the European Union, was tracing all the positive cases and all the people who were in contact with all those positive cases. So it was normal to find more people. But that doesn't have to do with the way you behave or the way you treat your citizens and your tourists. And Portugal was prepared and still is prepared. So what we always said is that this kind of decisions was creating misunderstanding, was creating a lack of trust in destination, and especially was creating a confusion in tourists. And it's not just the government of UK, many other governments inside Europe are taking the same decisions. This is not the time to build walls or to decide which countries can travel to another country. This is the time to be together and fight the pandemic together. And that's clearly a decision that we think hasn't been taken into consideration.
Did you have any clarification of the reasoning from the UK government?
Yes, well, several reasons, and we understood that, but we don't know if the data that everyone is based on to take those decisions are clear data. We always said that Portugal wanted to be transparent. We issue our numbers daily. We say daily how many cases we have, how many cases have increased, how many deaths we have. We have roughly 5 people dying per day in Portugal of the COVID. We have 1,600 for a 10 million population deceased. So we said that they had to see the health system, the country's safety and quality, the number of deaths, the number of testing, the number of ill. You couldn't just stick to a data of how many people have gotten ill in the last 14 days. This is clearly not the data, and especially you have different criteria, different data in different areas of the country. Madeira, for instance, we haven't had a case for almost 15 days. There was not a single people dying in Madeira from COVID. The Algarve, you have one of the lowest rates in Portugal. The Azores, you haven't have a case for the past 15 days. So we don't understand, but hopefully this decision will be reinverted, because we think it's very bad. It's not very bad just for the Portuguese economy, and we always said it's bad for the British tour operators, the travel agents, the airline companies, not having the trust of knowing which countries you can travel to, and not having this overall picture, then it damages everything, the value chain of the business. And this for us is the most important.
The UK government's decisions was strange in any case, because the Foreign Office is content for people to travel to Madeira and the Azores, but not to travel to mainland Portugal. What is the situation now with transmission and infections? Just briefly, because in the days up to the UK government decision, Portugal had been expected to be included and then was excluded at the last minute, really, and the focus was on some infections around on the outskirts of Lisbon, and this was perceived to be probably the main reason that there was an increase in infections around Lisbon. So, is that under control now, and is the situation broadly stable?
It's under control. I'll tell you, it was, and once again, we were very clear about that. We said, this is just, we're talking about 18 neighborhoods of Lisbon, outskirts Lisbon, a very industrialized area. It's a home for many people that work in constructions. It has nothing to do with downtown Lisbon or the touristic areas, nothing to do with the rest of the country, that's for sure. Almost 80% of the cases were the total cases in Portugal came from those specific areas. So the government took decisions of putting specific limitations to the people who live in those areas. Supermarkets would close at 8 o'clock in the evening. You couldn't sell any alcohol or drinks in gas stations. You couldn't be in gatherings of more than 5 people, but that's just for those specific neighborhoods. It had nothing to do with the rest of the country. We can walk freely and drive freely in the entire country. You can go from north to south without a single problem. And it's being controlled. It's being controlled. Once again, most of the cases is about people who is being taken care at home, not even at the hospital. So very mild symptoms, very simple and effective. And the health system is working perfectly. They have the tracking of everyone who is infected. Once again, we're the 6th country who is testing more than 10% of the population has been testing already. And everyone it's controlled. And I think that's the best argument we can give. We have everything under control in the entire country. Whenever there is a spike, either it's in a school or in a nursing home or whatever, immediately the authorities take action and they control and they try to reduce the amount of people who are in contact, or at least trace the people who are in contact. So everything is under control. And once again, the health system is working perfectly and very, very, very effectively.
Okay, so it sounds as though it was a localized outbreak,
very
similar
localized
to what we are seeing in the UK, we've seen in Germany,
yes.
We've seen in other places. Okay, the beaches reopened on June the 6th. So what is the situation now for visitors if they want to go to the beach, if they are staying in a hotel, if they visit a restaurant? Is everything open?
The sun is shining. Yeah.
Not here.
And the water is warm. And the water is warm. No, that was one of the, and once again, that's why we planned in advance. I think that's the best thing I can say. We planned everything in advance. It was impossible to forbid people going to the beach. So we said, let's give the responsibility to people when they go to the beach to know exactly which beaches they can go and what do they have to do when they go there. And that's simple. And you have those information in Portuguese, in English, in Spanish. You have an app where you can see before leaving home how crowded is the beach you're going to. There is a traffic light system that tells you if it's green, then you can go freely. If it's yellow, you can still go. And if it's red, you know that the beach is a little bit crowded. You can still go. It's not forbidden, but you need to pay attention on the distance between your umbrella and others' family umbrella. It's not allowed to play sports in the beach. For instance, you can't play football by the beach. but you still can walk, you can bathe, you can take your son. So it's very simple and very effective, and people are complying, which is the most important thing. If you're a foreigner, any Portuguese, and you're not wearing mask when you're entering a restaurant, any Portuguese will tell you, can you please use your mask? And this is the way we're doing things in Portugal. Everyone is, it's responsibility. It's your responsibility, but it's also your responsibility to tell everyone how we're behaving and how we're controlling. It has worked so far for the past 4 months because we had a very good control of the situation. So hopefully it will work in the future. So beaches are ready. Everything is working. Any sport that you want to do, surfing, windsurfing, it's perfectly normal. You don't have, they're not as crowded as they used to be in the past. So you have more space to enjoy the beach. Hotels are ready. The clean and safe stamp that we issued, they comply with the protocols that are issued by the Minister of Health. We have more than 20,000 establishments, from hotels to restaurants, rent-a-car, golf courses, casinos, even the airports are clean and safe. You can check what do they comply with in a platform, portugalcleanandsafe.com. And if you don't agree, or if you think they're not complying as they should, you can even evaluate them with a traffic light system again. You can give them a green, red, or a yellow light. If you give them a red light, we're obliged to do an audit to that establishment. So this is how we're controlling and once again, giving trust to any tourist and then any local for us.
Is that the user feedback that you're talking about here on Clean and Safe? Is that through the same app that you're talking about for the beaches?
The beaches is one app. It has only to do with the people that go to the beach. This is a different app, but you can see all of them in the same. It's portugalcleanandsafe.com.
Okay, and so if I turn up in, say, the UK government changes its advice and I can travel to Portugal, if I turn up at an airport on arrival, how will I know about these apps? Are they publicized? Are they easy to easily available to download? Are people downloading them?
Very easily available. What we'll do now is we're going to deliver some information kits to any passenger who arrives in the airport in Portugal, with information where they can find all that info. We've just established a partnership with the Minister of Health, so we will do the registration of a guest who comes, and they will get information weekly of the situation in Portugal, where they can find all this information, the beaches, the clean and safe stamps, everything in the same place. So it's very simple. And just to correct you, you can come to Portugal yet. We have more than 4,000 flights until October from the UK to Portugal. It's just a matter of the quarantine, but I'm sure you can handle that.
Yeah, it's adding 2 weeks holiday when I get back is the problem. But that's a lot of flights you have. What proportion of the schedule you would have expected is that, would you say?
Well, overall, I'm just not just speaking about the UK, that has been one of the biggest concerns. So the retaking of the air flights and the air connectivity to Portugal. Overall, we have in July 30% of what we had in July 19. And in August, we are around 50%, 55% of what we had in 2019. So it's very good. Of course, we need the flights to be full. And these kind of news and this kind of misunderstanding from different countries inside the European Union is not helping. It's not helping Portugal, and it's not helping any other country. We always say that the biggest fear, the biggest damage to the industry is just fear, the fear of traveling. It's not competition, it's not between us or other countries, it's the fear of traveling.
Okay, and what visitors are coming at the moment, and in what sort of numbers? You're open to most of the EU, aren't you?
No, we're open to every country.
Yeah.
So we don't have any discrimination or any block with any other country. We're getting a lot of tourists from Germany, of course, from Spain. The borders have been open since the 1st of July. A lot of internal tourism. You have to see that Portuguese were responsible for 1/3 of the total tourists in Portugal over the past years. So we hope they will answer and give back a lot during this year. But then we have some from the UK, of course. We understand that this is not very easy to deal with all this information and change of information. But mainly Germany, Spain, France is answering very, very heavily. And the load factor in the planes is growing. At least it's growing.
Okay, and how is the experience for these visitors? Do they, if they go out of their hotel, do they find all the restaurants and bars open, or is it a proportion at the moment?
No, you have the proportion is around 80% of all the establishments. Hotels were never closed. We had hotels open. Of course, some of them closed because of lack of demand. But the rest is open. Restaurants are open. The only thing which is not open is nightclubs and discos. That's still closed. But the rest is everything open. The restaurants have put some rules in place. So you have to enter the restaurant with a mask. But then when you sit with your family or with your friends, you can take the mask off and you can stay the entire time without mask. You have to clean your hands when you enter. You always have alcohol when you enter any place. Museums are open. Shops are open. This is the perfect time to visit. In fact, I was in Sintra 2 weeks ago to visit Palácio da Pena, that usually has 5,000 visitors per day. And now they have 200 visitors per day. We were 5 in Palácio da Pena at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And we were even greeting each other because it looked like our own place, our own house. So this is the perfect time to visit, in fact. And I think it gives you a perception of what's happening in the entire world, I'm sure in the entire world. But everything is open and running.
Okay, and in the restaurants, are there fewer tables than before maybe? Do people order at the table, or do they have to use an app or something, or is the normal kind of service and so on?
You have more space. Restaurants have taken some tables of the space. You have more open area, so more balconies and more tables outside the restaurant. All the employees are wearing masks always. And it's a very seamless experience. You can check the menu in some apps. You can pay wirelessly. You don't have to. You can use your card, but you don't have even to touch the machine. That's something that we're very concerned with. Automatic check-ins, a seamless experience, seamless payments. For your experience to be as smooth as possible inside the country. We've even launched this week a platform. Previously, it was impossible to pay the tolls from the cars if you're a foreign car. Now you can do that in a platform where you can register your plate number, your credit card, and everything will be debited automatically from your bank account. So I think if I can say if there is something good about COVID is that it forced us to be prepared, not only for locals, but for foreigners in a very seamless way. So it's very, everything is being prepared so that you can have still the same experience, but with much less effort and much smoothly than before.
Okay, and what has been the reaction of visitors so far that you're aware of anyway?
Well, the reaction is very positive. I'll tell you, for instance, the reaction about the Clean and Safe, the app that I told you that visitors can make the evaluation. We have 95% of green light. We had 2 red lights, and we made an audit immediately, and it was a misunderstanding about the internal protocol that was taking place in the restaurant. But it's perfect. I mean, people are loving the experience of arriving in an airport in Portugal. I've just arrived yesterday in Madeira, and as you know, Madeira and the Azores, you have to do the testing before or here at the island. It was quite an experience. I did the testing here in the island to see how it went. You have to wait for 5 to 6 hours for the result at the hotel. But the experience of arriving in the island, getting have a specific channel with some very nice people, always smiling, telling you, do you have the test? If you don't, can you come with me? They do the test in 5 minutes and you're free to go to your hotel. And then you get a message on your email saying you're free, you're negative, you can walk freely. This is really positive. And it's a beautiful experience because you see flowers everywhere, there's music. People are really prepared to give you this experience, and you see this in the entire country.
And if you tested negative, Luis, what would you be confined to the hotel then, or would you go to a different quarantine hotel?
If you tested positive, you have to go to a quarantine hotel. You have to go to a quarantine hotel. That's why most of the people do the testing in advance. And if you do the testing in advance, 72 hours prior to arriving to Portugal, to Madeira and the Azores. This is only for Madeira and the Azores. It's not for the Portugal mainland. Then it's even more simple because you just get through. You just show the result, and immediately you're free to enjoy the islands.
Okay, great. People in some destinations around Europe have been less than welcoming of travel restarting. We've seen some protests, some signs and so on. What has the reaction been in Portugal to travellers returning?
Nothing like that. We always say that we've been working for over the past few years with a purpose, welcoming everyone and respecting the differences. We understand that this is not a problem of Portugal. It's not a problem of Lisbon or the Algarve. It's a problem of the entire world. And we can't live closed. We can't be closed forever. The only thing we say is we learn how to take care of us so we can easily take care of others. And others meaning anyone who comes for 1 week or for 1 year or for their entire life. And that's the motto of the Portuguese. We're ready to welcome everyone and take care of them. If you get sick in Portugal, you have exactly the same treatment as a Portuguese in a hospital. And they will take care of you exactly the same way as they take care of a Portuguese. And I think that's the most important. And you don't see that kind of, we don't want people from foreign countries. We understand that the virus doesn't choose by nationality. And we need the economy. The economy needs tourists. We need both economies. The UK needs tourists from other countries, and Portugal needs tourists from the UK. So we're very happy to welcome everyone. And I think the experience is the same. You can't see the smile, but you can smile with the eyes because you have the mask, but you can still smile with the eyes.
Okay. And what now, Luis? I guess the governments are in talks, Lisbon and London. There'll be the government's review of its list of destinations on July the 27th. They've shown they're quite quick to remove countries from the safe destinations. They removed Serbia already. How hopeful are you that Portugal will be on the list from July the 27th and UK travellers will be able to visit without 14-day isolation on their return?
Well, we're very hopeful. Hopeful that that the governments will see the overall picture, the effort of an entire country, and most important, see the damage that this can cause to the future relations between two countries. This for us is the most important thing. The amount of British citizens that have been doing quarantine here in Portugal and teleworking from Portugal to the UK, it's quite impressive. The amount of British that have second homes in Portugal and have businesses here, and Portuguese that have businesses in the UK, it's quite impressive. This is not just a matter of finding a number and just sticking with a number. It's a matter of seeing the overall picture, and we hope they will see the overall picture. From our side, what we always say, British will always be welcome. You will always be welcome in Portugal. And Portugal is ready to take care of you as we take care of ourselves. That's the only thing we can say. And for us, that's the most important right now.
Okay. And presumably that welcome will roll over into next year, even with the end of the transition period with Britain leaving the EU.
Of course.
Yeah.
It's there's something bigger than the governments or institutions, and that's people. And there's a bigger connection between British and Portuguese, which is much bigger than anything else. And we understand that when we go to the UK to have holidays or to work or to invest, and British understand that when they come to our beaches or national parks, or when they come to invest or buy a second home. It's much bigger than that. And I think if we stick to that, and if we defend that, no decision, nothing will stop us from being together. And I think that's the most important right now, being together.
Okay. And so do you have a message for the Travel Weekly audience, the UK travel trade, Luis?
Well, to the travel trade is, first, thank you. Thank you for all the support, all the messages, all the support to our delegation, to Claudia and Jose and everyone in the UK and in London, based in London. But thank you for the kindness and for thinking of Portugal. We've always said that our biggest goal was being by your side, and it's really impressive to see that you were always by our side at the same time. So thank you once again, and count on us to stimulate travel and to increase the amount of people from the UK to Portugal and from Portugal to the UK. Thank you so much.
Luis, thank you.